So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for enrolling, and I would like to welcome you to this first lesson of this course in which we're going to be mastering the utilization of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT for our content creation. Now, again, this is a huge course. It is a masterclass, and we will cover every single thing that you need to know and every single aspect that we can be utilized from ChatGPT for our content creation. But in order to dive into these lessons and understand the hands-on experiments that we will be conducting with ChatGPT, we need to understand what OpenAI is, what ChatGPT is, and some general information around artificial intelligence. So this is exactly what we're covering in this first lesson right here. This first lesson is going to be an introduction to ChatGPT. We're going to be analyzing every single thing that you need to know around this artificial intelligence program. What information should we input to ChatGPT? What is a prompt? And how can we utilize the power of artificial intelligence for our content creation? And then we're going to be diving into analyzing the overview of this program. So we're going to be launching ChatGPT, and we're just going to be going through the general overview of this program. By the end of this lesson, you will be familiar with what ChatGPT is, what a prompt is, and with the general, again, overview of ChatGPT. So thank you very much for being here. I'm very excited to start this journey with you, and let's launch our first PowerPoint presentation for this course. So again, welcome everybody to the introduction to ChatGPT, which has 100% revolutionized content planning, distribution, and consumption. So we're going to start by analyzing what is ChatGPT. So as we all know, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence model that has been developed by OpenAI in November of 2022. So OpenAI is the company that has actually created ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence language model. This means that it is proficient in natural language understanding and generation. Now, when we're referring to the fact that it's proficient in natural language understanding, we're referring to the fact that we can input prompts, we can input information, it understands the information of the prompts that we input, and it generates relevant answers. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we're going to be capitalizing on for the creation of our content. ChatGPT can also engage in human-like conversations with users. So pretty much how we're going to work with ChatGPT is that we're going to be inputting information, all right, and it's going to be answering our questions, if you will, in a human-like conversation, which is valuable for both us and this artificial intelligence program. But how does ChatGPT work? ChatGPT is trained on vast and diverse text data, which enable it to provide valuable assistance in various fields, right, including education, research, writing, problem solving, and of course, content creation. ChatGPT's capabilities make it a versatile tool for content creation, as most, if not all, content is just information being distributed in different means. And all of the information, the most basic type of information distribution is what? Text, right? And scripts. And this is exactly the main point, the main feature of ChatGPT that we are going to be using for content creation. Scripts, information, and copy isn't just going to be used for our videos. It's going to be used for our videos planning, for ideas generation, for content creation itself, and many other factors that we're going to be analyzing in this course right here. Okay, so ChatGPT, as we said, can engage in human-like conversations with users, offering instant and coherent responses to a wide range of queries and prompts. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this part of this process right here of this presentation, I want to focus on the word prompt. You need to be familiar with what a prompt is in order to continue with this course and to understand how to maximize your potential with ChatGPT. So what is a prompt? This right here, as we're going to be seeing in the next part of this lesson right here, is the message bar in which we input our information, we input our prompts to access ChatGPT and to engage with ChatGPT. Now, prompts are input queries or statements, if you will, given by users, so it's given by us, to engage in conversations with this artificial intelligence language model. So a prompt is pretty much what we write, what we type in this message bar with ChatGPT. Prompts can take the form of natural language questions, incomplete sentences, or specific instructions that guide the artificial intelligence response. So those are just some types of prompts. As we said, we're gonna have some natural language questions. For example, suggest 5 hot topics in this niche, okay? Or what is the best way to film a video on an iPhone? Okay, these are our questions. Incomplete sentences, just like, for example, my target avatar is Mike. Mike's favorite hobby is, and then we let ChatGPT complete this sentence, or specific instructions. For example, create a content strategy plan for next week based on the information that I've been delivering to you in this chat right here. Okay, so based on the quality of our prompts, and if you're going to be taking something home from this lesson, is this sentence right here: based on the quality of the prompts that we input to ChatGPT, this is exactly what we're going to be getting out of ChatGPT. So we need to be very targeted and very spot on with our prompts. Okay, users can use prompts to seek information, ask for explanations, or generate content, as we said, tailored to their specific needs. Okay, the answers and the information that we're going to be getting from ChatGPT is directly proportional to the quality of the prompts that we input. The quality and relevance, okay, of AI's responses are influenced again by the clarity and specificity of the prompts provided. So if there is something that you need to study and you need to get good at in order to maximize your reach and maximize how much of ChatGPT's artificial intelligence power you're going to be utilizing, is the quality of the prompts that you input. ChatGPT also, you really need to understand this, is context aware. This means that it can retain information from previous interactions within the same conversation. And this is extremely valuable. You don't need to refresh all of the information that you have on one chat with ChatGPT every time that you input a prompt. You can really engage like an actually genuine conversation with this program, and ChatGPT will actually remember what information you have been giving to it and what you have been saying with each other, if you will, in the same chat. This is extremely valuable because, as you can imagine, in the same chat, we're going to be, let's say, we're going to be brainstorming our target audience, our target avatar, the pain points of our target avatar. And due to the fact that ChatGPT will remember all of these things, then we're going to be creating at the same chat our content strategy, our content creation, and some brainstorming ideas on how to turn long-form content into short-form content. Now, all of these are going to be in the same chat, which means that ChatGPT will have a lot of information about our niche and the content that we're going to be creating. So this is one of the highest leveraged parts of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. Okay, now, another thing that you need to remember is that prompt influence on responses, right? The way a prompt is framed, as we said, significantly impacts the artificial intelligence output. So I want you to remember that users can fine-tune the responses they receive by adjusting the wording and tone of their prompts, right? Ensuring more precise and tailored answers by ChatGPT. So please screenshot this slide right here. It is extremely important for you to remember that the quality of your prompts dictate, all right, the output that we're going to be getting from this artificial intelligence model. Also, you need to know and you need to be aware of potential bias in the responses, all right, that ChatGPT creates. So obviously, OpenAI is a company. Companies are run by people, and ChatGPT may have data sets that receives information from all over the web, but this doesn't mean that information isn't biased sometimes, right? So despite its remarkable capabilities, ChatGPT may sometimes exhibit biased responses due to the data that it's been trained on, right? So users need to be aware of this and carefully frame prompts to avoid reinforcing any existing biases, especially if you are creating content, all right, for social media based on things that are happening right now in the world. You need to be aware of potential biases in the responses. Now, we've talked about ChatGPT, we've talked about the importance of prompts, we've talked about how important it is to actually give out the correct prompts to receive the correct information from ChatGPT. So what are the implications? Okay, what are the implications of this tool in content creation? Are there applications of this tool in content creation? I think we know the answer to this question. Of course, there are many applications of this tool in content creation, and course. So we can use ChatGPT for content planning. We can use ChatGPT for trend identification, right? It has been trained in modern data on the marketplace. For search engine optimization, this is one of the most huge ways to utilize the power of ChatGPT. It's extremely valuable, the search engine optimization capabilities of ChatGPT. We can perform target audience research and, more specifically, target avatar creation, which is going to be one of the most valuable things, again, we're going to be creating with ChatGPT. It's going to be used for copywriting, idea generation, automation of repetitive chats, and obviously transformation of long form to short form content, which is absolutely amazing. And back in the day, it would take, many hours of editing. But now in this course, I'm going to be explaining to you how to do this in just a matter of 5 to 10 clicks of a button. And all of those factors right here used to take extreme amounts of time back in the day. This is why this course is so valuable, and this is why you need to pay close attention to those lessons, because once you understand how to truly utilize the power of ChatGPT, you're going to be saving just huge amounts of time and energy into tasks that otherwise would be repetitive and wouldn't be fun, in this content creation process. Because as content creators, all we want to do is just turn on the camera, talk to the camera, and just create content. We don't want to mess with search engine optimization or, trend identification or target audience research. Those are boring stuff, but we can outsource and we can leverage our actions with ChatGPT. And this is exactly what we're going to be doing in this course. So now it's time, I think, to have a look on the software, have a general overview on how the software looks and how we're going to be approaching ChatGPT in the next lessons. So I'm going to see you once we launch ChatGPT. So this right here is the interface that you're going to see once you sign up and create an account in OpenAI. This is the interface of ChatGPT. Now, the first thing we can see up here is that we can actually upgrade to ChatGPT 4. And what GPT-4 is pretty much, it is just a paid service of OpenAI if ChatGPT 3.5 is the free version. Alright, ChatGPT 4 just has a higher computing power. And I want to specify that for this course right here, we're going to be using ChatGPT 5 or 3.5, and there is no need for you to upgrade right now at this point to ChatGPT 4 to follow along in this course. So again, you don't need to spend a single buck to actually follow those lessons in this course. So what do we see here? We see a big gap that needs to be filled with prompts and more information, and some suggestions again to ask ChatGPT just to give you a very basic outline, if you will, of what ChatGPT is capable of providing. Now, this right here is what we're going to be focusing on, and this is the prompt bar. So this right here is where we input our information, our prompts. Let me change the language. Okay, this is where we're going to be inputting our information, our prompts, and by pressing this button right here, we are actually going to be engaging with a conversation with ChatGPT. So it is extremely basic user interface. Now, another thing that I want to note right here is that if you want to access previous conversations that you have with this artificial intelligence model, you can press on this button right here, which is the sidebar, and all of those are conversations that I had with ChatGPT. Again, I use this program a lot because it is extremely helpful. As you can see, for search engine optimization, for YouTube, all of that stuff. I also use ChatGPT to study for my medical school. So again, a lot of usage right here. And if I open any of those conversations, I can dive into the previous topics. And obviously, as we said, ChatGPT is going to be remembering our conversations. So all of the things that we discussed about, it just keeps track of them. So you don't need to just remind it, just like you would remind, for example, a human being if you were interacting with it. So, for example, just to input a very basic prompt, I can ask, hey, give me 10 bullet points on what you are capable of doing. Right? Give me 10 bullet points of what you're capable of doing. So certainly, here are 10 bullet points outlining what I'm capable of doing. So again, you can see how fast, first of all, it generated all of those 10 bullet points. So we got natural language understanding, information retrieval, context, content generation, text summarization, language translation, programming assistance, all of that stuff. So this is pretty much how you engage with ChatGPT. If you don't like the input, the prompt, right, that you delivered, you can press right here and just rephrase your prompt. For example, let's say we could say, hey, create a poem, a short poem. Okay, we don't want it like a song, a short poem on what you're capable of doing. So let's say create it again. in the realms of thought, I come alive. A digital mind ready to thrive. I process words and knowledge vast, answering questions from first to last. So again, it is very smart. We can have, as you can see, just created a whole poem in like 2 seconds or something on what it can do. So again, there's a lot of things to cover right here. I hope you enjoyed this first lesson in which we analyzed some basic things again around ChatGPT. What is a prompt? How can we can utilize the power of ChatGPT for content creation? And again, just a basic overview of this program. Now it is time to actually get to work and start by analyzing the first step that every content creator should stress about. And this is audience research. We can't be creating content without knowing exactly our target audience. and researching our target audience, it's going to be extremely easy with ChatGPT. So in the next lesson, we're taking a hypothetical scenario of a content creation niche, and taking this niche, we're going to be researching our audience, okay, that we're going to be delivering this content to. So thank you very much. Thank you again for enrolling in this course, and I'm going to see you in the next lesson.